Now that you're confused because of the title, I'm going to make you even more confused. So do you remember this guy from history class named Juan? Specifically Juan Ponce de Leon. This guy mostly made he was an explorer in the New World, and he mostly made the history books just because he was searching for this thing called the Fountain of Eternal Youth. He thought it was in Florida, so he kept searching and searching and never found it and died, clearly. What I think Juan does for us is he embodies what most everybody feels. Nobody really wants to get older. Nobody wants to get old. Why do you think women don't like to talk about their age after they hit like 20? So, but everybody wants to stay young forever, but that's impossible if we think about it in a purely human sense. But I would like to introduce you to another man whose name is also Juan, except it's English, John, and he found the Fountain of Eternal Youth, except it's eternal life. That's right, John the Beloved, John the Evangelist, John the Apostle, whatever you want to call him, he found that fountain. Aside from Mary, Jesus' mother, and Mary Magdalene, and a few other women who are all named Mary, for some reason, John's the only guy. John is the only apostle at the foot of the cross. And now that everybody's confused because you're trying to figure out how in the world John has found the fountain of life, of eternal youth, of eternal life, I'm going to explain. Okay, so Juan Ponce de Leon was searching for the fountain of life, fountain of eternal youth for, like, physical body. I'm not going to get older than 15. That kind of fountain. And John wasn't even really necessarily searching for the fountain of life when he found it, because the fountain of life is Christ's side. Because of Christ's suffering and death on the cross, we can have eternal life. Because of his suffering, death on the cross, and resurrection later, he opened the gates of heaven, and that's how we can live forever. That's how we can always be alive. But of course, that also means we need to die first. Because of original sin, death is a consequence of original sin. So we need to die, but at the same time, we're going to live forever. At the end of the world, our bodies were going to be resurrected and perfected. They're going to become completely new. If you want to think of what our bodies are going to be like at the end of the world after they're resurrected, you can kind of go and read what Jesus' body is like in the gospel. Anytime after Jesus is resurrected, that'll explain what our bodies will be like. But how is Jesus' side, how is that fountain of eternal youth, eternal life, like, literally speaking? Because, I mean, eternal life is pretty obvious. Jesus. Anyway, but it's the fountain of eternal youth, eternal life in a literal sense, because this is in John's gospel. He said they pierced Jesus' side and blood and water flowed out. So that blood and water, for one thing, they symbolize baptism and the Eucharist. And so that blood and water, that is what brings us eternal life. So, okay, you want to live forever? Go and drink from the side of Christ. Go be baptized and Eucharist. That's how you're gonna live forever. One more fun thing about youth, and okay, sorry, this is from an article called 12 Things Not to Ask Nuns. Or maybe, I forget the exact number, but whatever. Not to ask nuns. It's just being a funny article. I'll put it in the description so you can read the whole thing. And it's about a sister saying, people are always commenting how young nuns look. And she's saying, we just pray. That's why we look young. So the whole reason I'm talking about this whole fountain of youth and fountain of eternal life is because it's Easter. Lent's over and it's party time. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy. So now we get to eat chocolate and go on Twitter and do whatever you gave up for Lent and say that one word that we're not supposed to say, and it only gets stuck in your head during Lent. But here's my question. Did you learn anything this Lent? It was just my Lent. I feel like my Lent didn't go as I wanted. I know I learned a thing or two. I learned that my existence doesn't depend on the things I gave up. My existence literally depends on God, and I can survive without my internet time. And here's my second question. Are you going to live the same way that you lived 40 days ago? Because here's what my initial thoughts were when I think about Easter. Easter! Yes! I can go on YouTube and go on Pinterest and I'll switch again! And I kind of forgot the reason why I gave up all that stuff. So I think we need to revisit the reason why we did. It was to prepare for the passion, death, and resurrection of the Lord. What are we celebrating? Why are we celebrating? Are we celebrating the resurrection, or are we celebrating the fact that we can eat chocolate and go on Instagram? I'm a big Star Wars fan, and some like-minded people may know that the Star Wars celebration happened on the Totem this year. So now all I want to do is watch replays and the last Tread trailer and all the theory videos that come out over the next 24 hours. Not to mention all the watch later videos that I've put on that list while I've been researching videos for this channel. Let's just say I needed to do a little bit on my YouTube fast. But is that what I should be doing? It's Easter. What am I celebrating? I mean, I know I've already eaten a dozen cookies and will probably spend a few unnecessary hours on Pinterest and YouTube. We all, including myself, need to remember the reason for our past fasting and our current celebration. It's the resurrection. And the purpose of Lent is not to just say, oh, Lent's over. Yes, I am free from my fast. It's to take away a lesson. So here's my challenge to you. After Easter week, which ends on Divine Mercy Sunday, figure out a post-Lent plan. After Lent, we're not supposed to revert back to our old ways. We're not growing if we do that. One of the reasons I like Lent is it's an excuse and kind of a mandatory exercise, but that's not mandatory, literally, because canon law does not make it mandatory, to step away and pray and fast. We're all kind of called to live a perpetual Lent. Make some kind of post-Lent plan where you give up meat or sweets or extra internet on some day, or maybe you pray the station on Friday, you go to daily mass. I'm not saying go full throttle Lent, but I am saying do something so that you don't forget Lent and you keep growing. Because if we just go back to our old ways, we're not growing, and that's not making us into the saints we're supposed to be. Happy Easter. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you have any questions or suggestions for videos, comment below and I'll take a look at them. Take a look at these videos. Okay, this one on the Eucharist is super good. Please watch it. This is Father Larry Richards on just like Easter in general, and then these songs are good songs.